Welcome back to Artos Hub, the channel where we dive into the most exciting upcoming cars, concept revivals, and the future of American performance legends. If you love muscle cars and automotive history being reimagined for a new generation, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below on which of these upcoming cars excites you the most. Now let's get started. Number 1, the 2026 Plymouth Roadrunner. Few names in muscle car history stir as much excitement as the Roadrunner. First launched in 1968, it quickly became a symbol of affordability, raw power, and no-nonsense performance. Back then, the Roadrunner wasn't about luxury or sophistication. It was about putting as much muscle as possible into the hands of everyday Americans. It carried Mopar's DNA proudly and gave gearheads a machine that could dominate the streets and drag strips without breaking the bank. Fast forward to today, and the 2026 Plymouth Roadrunner represents not just a comeback, but a rebirth of an icon. The world of performance cars has shifted, with electric vehicles dominating headlines and muscle cars facing extinction. Yet Plymouth, or rather Mopar, knows that enthusiasts still crave that thunderous V8 rumble, that beep-beep attitude, and that unmistakable presence on the road. The first thing you'll notice is the balance between heritage and futurism. The 2026 Roadrunner borrows cues from its classic late 60s and early 70s designs, wide stance, aggressive long hood, and short rear deck, but updates them with sharper aerodynamics, lightweight panels, and LED lighting signatures that scream modern muscle. At the front, a bold, modernized Roadrunner emblem sits proudly on the grille. The headlights integrate seamlessly into the aggressive fascia, while the sculpted hood includes optional shaker scoops, reminiscent of Mopar legends. From the side, muscular fender flares and aerodynamic cuts give it an edge against competitors like the Mustang GT and Dodge Charger Hellcat. Out back, a sleek light bar runs the width of the rear, paired with dual exhaust outlets that leave no doubt about the beast hiding under the hood. Here's where Mopar fans will feel the nostalgia: under the hood. The base model comes with a naturally aspirated 6.4-liter Hemi V8, producing around 540 horsepower. But for adrenaline junkies, Plymouth offers a supercharged 6.2-liter V8, delivering over 700 horsepower. That means the new Roadrunner doesn't just look the part. It backs it up with real firepower. Both engine options pair with either a 6-speed manual, perfect for purists who want to feel every shift, or an 8-speed automatic with launch control for blistering acceleration. 0 to 60 mph times are expected in the mid-3-second range for the supercharged model, putting it toe-to-toe with modern exotics. Handling has also been elevated beyond the straight-line dominance of old-school muscle cars. A lightweight aluminum chassis, adaptive suspension, and advanced traction systems ensure the 2026 Roadrunner hugs corners as well as it blasts down highways. Massive Brembo brakes provide the stopping power needed to tame this beast. Step inside, and you'll find a cabin that bridges past and future. Plymouth has kept retro-inspired analog-style gauges, but pairs them with a 12-inch high-resolution digital cluster that can be customized to show performance metrics. A flat-bottom steering wheel, premium sport bucket seats, and retro touches like stitched Roadrunner logos tie the old to the new. On the modern side, you get a state-of-the-art infotainment system with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless charging, and an available Harman Kardon premium audio system. Driver assistance features like adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assist, and a 360-degree camera system are all included, proving you don't have to sacrifice safety for performance. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Reports suggest the starting price for the 2026 Roadrunner will be highly competitive, likely around the $50,000 to $55,000 range, undercutting some rivals while still delivering massive horsepower. Fully loaded supercharged trims could climb into the $75,000 to $80,000 bracket. But even then, You're getting performance that competes with cars costing far more. This aggressive pricing strategy could help Plymouth carve out a space in the performance car market that's been dominated by the Mustang GT, Camaro ZL1, and Dodge Charger Hellcat. And let's not forget, just the Roadrunner name itself carries weight in the muscle car community. It's not just another car, it's a legacy reborn. So why is the 2026 Roadrunner such a big deal? Because it proves that even in an EV-dominated landscape, there's still passion for gasoline-powered muscle. It's a car that doesn't try to apologize for what it is. It celebrates it. For older enthusiasts, it's a dream come true. For younger buyers, it's a chance to experience what muscle cars are really about: personality, sound, and raw emotion. Expect the Roadrunner to become a highlight at car shows, drag strips, and weekend cruises across America. Mopar hasn't just revived a name, they've reignited a movement. Number 2. Chevrolet Nova. The Chevrolet Nova is one of those cars that may not have started life as a full-on muscle car, but over time, it carved out its place as a true icon of American performance. First introduced in 1962 as the Chevy 2, the Nova was originally designed as a practical, compact family car to compete with the Ford Falcon. But as the muscle car era heated up in the mid-1960s, Chevrolet saw the potential of transforming this lightweight platform into a speed machine. The Nova really began to capture the attention of car enthusiasts when Chevrolet started putting powerful V8 engines under its hood. By the late 60s, the Nova SS, Supersport, became one of the most talked-about street machines in America. Small, lightweight, and packing serious horsepower, the Nova was everything a gearhead wanted. A car that could dominate at the drag strip yet still be driven on city streets. When people think about the golden age of the Chevrolet Nova, they often picture the 1968-1972 models. This was the era when the Nova had a mean, aggressive look with sharp lines, wide stance, and muscle-packed styling. Underneath, it could be ordered with engines like the legendary 396 big block V8, delivering jaw-dropping performance numbers for a car that weighed significantly less than its competitors. In fact, many drag racers preferred the Nova because it was essentially a sleeper. Small and simple on the outside, but absolutely ferocious when the gas pedal was pressed. The Nova SS 396 was a standout, competing with bigger names like the Dodge Dart, Plymouth Duster, and even Mustang Mach-1. But what made it unique was its balance. The Nova wasn't overly flashy. It didn't scream for attention like some other muscle cars with stripes, spoilers, or wild styling. Instead, it kept a clean design, almost understated, and that subtlety made it even more attractive to enthusiasts who valued raw performance over showmanship. Chevrolet also gave the Nova something most other muscle cars lacked: affordability. A well-equipped Nova SS cost less than many high-performance rivals, making it accessible to younger buyers who wanted speed without breaking the bank. This is why the Nova became a street racing legend in countless American towns and cities during the late 60s and early 70s. By the 1970s, however, the muscle car era began to fade due to rising insurance rates, stricter emission standards, and the oil crisis. Chevrolet, like every automaker, had to adapt, and the Nova followed suit. The once powerful SS trims were toned down, and performance numbers dipped significantly. Still, the Nova maintained its reputation as a versatile, reliable car, and it continued to sell well throughout the decade. One of the most underrated aspects of the Nova's history is its influence on customization culture. Because it was small, relatively inexpensive, and had a large engine bay, it became one of the most modified cars of its time. Car builders and hot rodders loved the Nova because they could easily drop in big block engines, tweak the suspension, and turn it into a drag strip monster. Even today, if you go to any classic car show or drag race, you'll almost certainly see at least one heavily modified Chevrolet Nova. Today, the Chevrolet Nova has a cult following among muscle car fans. The late 60s and early 70s SS models are especially sought after, with collectors paying top dollar for well-preserved or properly restored examples. A pristine 1970 Nova SS 396, for example, can fetch prices north of six figures, depending on rarity and originality. Meanwhile, enthusiasts who can't afford original SS models often build tribute Novas, customizing base models into powerful muscle machines. But the Nova isn't just about nostalgia. Its lightweight design, performance potential, and timeless styling continue to inspire modern builders. In fact, some aftermarket companies even produce brand-new body shells for the 1968-72 Nova, allowing enthusiasts to build custom restomods with modern performance parts while still keeping the classic look alive. The Chevrolet Nova's legacy is simple but powerful. It proved that you didn't need a giant car to deliver giant performance. Its compact size gave it agility. Its powerful engines gave it muscle, and its clean design gave it timeless appeal. Whether you loved it for street racing, drag racing, or just cruising around town, the Nova earned its place as one of the true icons of the muscle car world. And when you hear that name, Nova, you don't just think of a car. You think of an era. You think of Friday nights at the drag strip, the roar of a V8 echoing through the streets, and the feeling of raw American horsepower. That's why the Chevrolet Nova is more than just a car. It's a legend that continues to inspire generations of enthusiasts. Number 3. Plymouth Barracuda. When people talk about the most legendary muscle cars in American history, the Plymouth Barracuda always comes up. Known simply as the Cuda, this car represented raw power, bold design, and pure muscle car spirit. What makes the Barracuda special is not only its performance, but also its journey. From being a modest fastback in the 1960s to becoming one of the most iconic and collectible muscle cars ever built. The Barracuda first appeared in 1964, based on the Plymouth Valiant. At the time, muscle cars were still finding their identity, and the Barracuda's fastback design, with a giant wraparound rear window, set it apart. While the early models didn't immediately dominate the performance scene, they established Plymouth's commitment to offering something sporty, stylish, and affordable. But the real magic of the Barracuda came later. By 1970, Plymouth launched the third-generation Barracuda, and that's when the car became a true muscle legend. Built on Chrysler's E-body platform, the new Barracuda was completely different from the earlier models. Wider, lower, and more aggressive, the car looked like it was built for the drag strip. Its muscular stance, bold grille, and performance-focused design made it one of the most feared cars of the era. What really gave the Barracuda its reputation, though, were the engines. Plymouth offered the Barracuda with nearly every engine in Chrysler's arsenal, from small-block V8s to some of the biggest and most powerful motors ever produced. The most famous option was, of course, the 426 Hemi V8. This engine turned the Cuda into a street and track beast, pumping out around 425 horsepower, though many believed the real numbers were even higher. The Hemi Cuda became the stuff of legend, with blistering quarter-mile times and a reputation that still gives it superstar status today. But Plymouth didn't stop there. The Barracuda lineup also included the high-performance AAR Cuda, inspired by the Trans Am racing series. This version featured a 340 cubic inch engine, triple carburetors, a matte black hood, and side exhaust pipes. It wasn't just about straight-line speed. The AAR Cuda was designed for handling and agility, making it one of the most versatile muscle cars of its time. Collectors today especially value the 1970-71 Hemi Cudas. These are among the most expensive and desirable muscle cars ever built. At classic car auctions, some have sold for millions of dollars, making them true treasures of automotive history. Their rarity, combined with their performance and styling, makes them holy grails for muscle car fans. One of the things that made the Barracuda so beloved was its balance of style and performance. While it was undoubtedly fast, it also looked incredible. The long hood, short rear deck, wide stance, and aggressive details gave it a mean but beautiful appearance. Whether painted in wild, high-impact colors like limelight green, vitamin C orange, or plum-crazy purple, the Barracuda stood out anywhere it went. These flashy paint schemes became part of its personality, reflecting the bold spirit of the muscle car era. Unfortunately, like all muscle cars, the Barracuda's glory years were cut short. By the mid-1970s, rising insurance costs, stricter emissions regulations, and the oil crisis spelled trouble for high-performance cars. By 1974, the Barracuda had lost much of its raw power, and by 1975, Plymouth discontinued the model altogether. It was the end of an era, and enthusiasts mourned the loss of one of the greatest names in American performance. But legends never truly die. Today, the Plymouth Barracuda remains one of the most celebrated muscle cars in history. Car shows, auctions, and museums around the world proudly feature restored and original Cudas, while the name itself continues to inspire new generations of enthusiasts. Restomod builders often take classic Cuda shells and upgrade them with modern engines, suspensions, and technology, keeping the look of the original but giving it the power and reliability of today. The Barracuda's influence even extends into modern pop culture. It has appeared in movies, TV shows, and music, becoming a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and raw performance. Songs have been written about it, and films have immortalized its presence as one of the coolest cars ever to hit the streets. At its core, the Plymouth Barracuda represents the height of the muscle car era. It was bold, powerful, and unapologetic. It gave drivers an experience that was pure adrenaline. The rumble of the engine, the smell of burning rubber, and the thrill of knowing you were driving one of the most powerful cars ever made. For collectors and enthusiasts, owning a Barracuda isn't just about having a car. It's about owning a piece of American history. It's about holding on to a time when automakers weren't afraid to push boundaries, when cars were built for excitement rather than efficiency, and when raw horsepower ruled the roads. That's why the Plymouth Barracuda will forever be remembered as one of the greatest muscle cars of all time. It wasn't just transportation. It was an experience, a thrill, and a legend that continues to roar decades after it left production. Number 4. Ford Mustang GT. When we talk about cars that shaped American culture, one name always comes to mind: the Ford Mustang. Since its debut in 1964, the Mustang has been more than just a car. It's been a symbol of freedom, performance, and style. And among the many versions released over the decades, the Ford Mustang GT stands out as the perfect blend of power, affordability, and driving excitement. The story of the Mustang GT begins with the original Mustang itself. Ford introduced the Mustang at the 1964 World's Fair in New York, and it was an instant success. Young buyers wanted something sporty, stylish, and fun, and the Mustang delivered all of that at a price nearly anyone could afford. The car's popularity exploded, creating what became known as the pony car segment. Competitors like the Chevrolet Camaro, Pontiac Firebird, and Dodge Challenger were all born in response to the Mustang's success. But while the base Mustang was already impressive, Ford knew enthusiasts wanted more performance. That's where the GT came in. From the start, the Mustang GT package added stronger engines, sportier suspensions, upgraded brakes, and unique styling touches. It was designed to give drivers the thrill of performance without losing the everyday usability of the standard Mustang. Through the late 1960s, the Mustang GT grew into a true performance icon. Models like the 1967-68 GT with the 390 cubic inch V8 or the 1969 Mach 1 with the big block 428 Cobra Jet proved that the Mustang could run with the best muscle cars of the era. It wasn't just about looking good, it was about speed, handling, and making a statement. One of the defining moments for the Mustang GT came in 1968 with the movie Bullitt. Actor Steve McQueen, behind the wheel of a dark green Mustang GT fastback, raced through the streets of San Francisco in what's still considered the greatest car chase ever filmed. That movie cemented the Mustang GT's reputation as the ultimate cool car. Decades later, Ford even released special Bullet Edition Mustangs to honor that legacy. The Mustang GT didn't just live on the big screen, it also dominated racetracks. Carroll Shelby's partnership with Ford led to the creation of the Shelby GT350 and GT500, race-inspired versions that turned the Mustang into a legitimate track monster. While those cars carried Shelby's name, their DNA came directly from the Mustang GT's performance foundation. As the 1970s progressed, though, the Mustang faced challenges. Rising fuel prices, insurance restrictions, and emissions rules meant muscle cars across the board lost power. The Mustang II of the mid-1970s was smaller and less powerful, and while it sold well, purists missed the raw muscle of the earlier GT models. The good news is that the Mustang GT came roaring back in the 1980s. With the introduction of the Fox body platform, the GT regained its performance focus. The 5.0-liter V8, often referred to simply as the 5.0, became a legend in its own right. Affordable, lightweight, and fast, the Fox body Mustang GT became a favorite of street racers and enthusiasts across the country. It marked the beginning of the modern muscle car revival. In the 1990s and 2000s, the Mustang GT continued to evolve. Each new generation brought more power, better handling, and modern technology, while still staying true to the Mustang's roots. The GT was always the sweet spot in the lineup, more affordable than the top-tier Shelby or Boss models, but still delivering a V8 punch and the unmistakable Mustang spirit. Fast forward to today, and the modern Mustang GT is a performance bargain. The current GT comes with a 5.0-liter Coyote V8 that delivers over 450 horsepower. It's fast, it's loud, and it offers driving excitement that rivals cars costing twice as much. With options like a 6-speed manual transmission or a 10-speed automatic, drivers can choose how they want to experience their Mustang. Technology has also made the GT more versatile than ever. Adjustable driving modes let you go from comfortable daily commuting to full-throttle track performance. Features like launch control, Magna-Ride suspension, and performance exhausts make the car as advanced as it is thrilling. Yet despite all the modern tech, the Mustang GT still captures the raw excitement that made it famous in the first place. The Mustang GT also continues to inspire special editions. The Bullet returned in recent years, along with performance packages like the GT Performance Pack and track-focused Mach 1. Each of these builds on the GT's foundation, giving enthusiasts even more options to enjoy this iconic car. Another key factor in the Mustang GT's success is its global reach. Once only a US favorite, the Mustang is now sold worldwide, becoming Ford's first true global performance car. From America to Europe to Asia, drivers everywhere recognize the Mustang GT as an icon of American automotive culture. Perhaps the most impressive thing about the Mustang GT is how it has stayed relevant for nearly 60 years. Generations of drivers have fallen in love with this car. From baby boomers who bought the original GTs in the 1960s to younger enthusiasts discovering the thrill of V8 power today. Very few cars have managed to maintain that kind of legacy. The Mustang GT represents more than horsepower and speed. It represents freedom, individuality, and the thrill of the open road. It's a car that anyone can aspire to own, yet it still delivers the performance to excite even the most seasoned enthusiasts. Whether you're driving down Main Street on a Friday night or hitting the track on a Saturday morning, the Mustang GT is always ready to deliver a rush of adrenaline. Number 5. Dodge Charger Hellcat Hemi. If there's one car in recent history that has pushed the boundaries of what a four-door muscle car can be, it's the Dodge Charger Hellcat Hemi. This beast is not just a car, it's a statement. One that says raw power and unfiltered aggression are still alive in an era where most automakers are turning to hybrids and electric vehicles. The Dodge Charger itself has a long history. First launched in the mid-1960s as a two-door fastback muscle car, it quickly made a name for itself in the muscle car wars, especially in NASCAR and drag racing. But it wasn't until Dodge revived the Charger in the mid-2000s as a four-door sedan that the foundation was laid for the modern Hellcat legend. When Dodge introduced the Hellcat version of the Charger in 2015, it shocked the world. Here was a family-sized sedan packing a 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8, producing an astonishing 707 horsepower. At the time, that made it the most powerful production sedan in the world. It wasn't just about speed, though. It was about showing that Dodge was willing to do something bold, something no other brand dared to attempt. The Charger Hellcat wasn't meant to be subtle. From the wide stance to the menacing hood scoops and aggressive body lines, every part of its design screams performance. Its exhaust note, that deep, rumbling roar of a supercharged Hemi, can be heard from blocks away. Driving one is less about blending in and more about making sure everyone knows you've arrived. Performance, of course, is where the Charger Hellcat earns its name. That 707 horsepower engine catapulted the sedan from 0 to 60 in just 3.6 seconds, with a top speed of over 200 km/h. For a four-door car that could seat 5 people and haul groceries, those numbers seemed almost unbelievable. It was a car that could take the kids to school in the morning and dominate the drag strip at night. Over the years, Dodge didn't stop there. They introduced even more powerful versions like the Charger Hellcat Red-Eye, which bumped horsepower up to a jaw-dropping 797 HP. With launch control, line lock, and massive brakes, the Hellcat Red-Eye took the Charger from an outrageous muscle sedan to a full-blown super sedan, challenging cars that cost twice or even 3 times as much. One of the unique things about the Charger Hellcat Hemi is its accessibility. Sure, it's expensive compared to your average car, but when you compare it to European performance sedans with similar power, the Charger is a bargain. You're getting nearly 800 horsepower for the price of a mid-range luxury SUV. That combination of affordability and insane performance made it a favorite among car enthusiasts. Inside, the Charger Hellcat Hemi combines modern comfort with muscle car DNA. Drivers get performance seats, SRT drive modes, and tech-like adaptive suspension settings, customizable performance pages, and launch assist. Yet, despite its high-tech features, it still feels raw and mechanical. A true muscle car experience in sedan form. What sets the Hellcat apart is that Dodge leaned into its identity while others were moving away from it. While most brands chased efficiency and refinement, Dodge doubled down on outrageous horsepower and unapologetic muscle. The Hellcat badge became a cultural phenomenon, instantly recognizable as the ultimate version of Dodge's muscle cars. The Charger Hellcat also earned respect on the drag strip. With the right setup, it could clock quarter-mile times in the 10-second range, performance usually reserved for exotic supercars. Dodge even offered special drag-focused editions like the Dodge Demon in the Challenger lineup, which shared much of the Hellcat's DNA. For fans, the Charger Hellcat represented a last hurrah for the muscle car era. With tightening emissions rules and a push toward electric vehicles, many enthusiasts saw the Hellcat as one of the final true gas-guzzling V8 monsters. Dodge themselves acknowledged this, announcing their plans to move toward electrification with the next generation of Chargers and Challengers. But instead of quietly fading out, they gave us the Hellcat, a loud, unapologetic celebration of American horsepower. Of course, with great power comes great responsibility, and the Hellcat has had its share of controversies. Insurance companies flagged it as one of the riskiest cars to cover, while police departments complained about reckless drivers misusing its immense power on public roads. Yet these controversies only added to its legend. It's the kind of car that refuses to be ignored. In terms of design, each new model year refined the Hellcat formula while keeping its aggressive personality. Wide-body versions improved handling and gave it an even meaner stance. The hood scoops, splitters, and spoilers weren't just for looks. They improved aerodynamics and cooling, allowing the Hellcat to handle its immense power without overheating. Perhaps the most impressive part of the Hellcat story is how it brought muscle car culture into the modern age. Younger generations, who may have missed out on the original 1960s muscle car era, found their dream car in the Charger Hellcat. It became a staple in car shows, street racing culture, and even video games, ensuring that the legend of the muscle car lived on. As Dodge prepares for an electric future, the Charger Hellcat Hemi stands as a reminder of what made muscle cars special: raw power, bold design, and the thrill of driving something outrageous. It's not subtle, it's not refined, but it's unforgettable. In many ways, the Charger Hellcat Hemi is the perfect closer for this list of cars that will dominate American roads. It proves that even in an age of technology and efficiency, there's still room for pure, unfiltered horsepower. While the future may look different, the Hellcat ensures that the muscle car spirit will never die.